Hold on. Mystic Misfits Marketplace, the podcast edition, title Stoned Circle. Everyone got a lighter? Everyone got their oregano?
Absolutely have the oregano.
Let's get started then. I'll start. I'll take the conch shell. I'm Eli, and my Insta is eli.the.mageye.
I'm Avery. My Insta is Briar's Grove.
I'm Brittani. My Insta handle is the mystic.cryptid.
Yeah.
I think.
I like the question on that, but yeah. And we'll link and all that so that we can figure that out. But first question we decided on is how we define our practices, abridged, short version. I guess I would say ancestor work, deity work, spirit work yeah. As a general. The shortest version of that, yeah.
I usually go with druid just because it's the closest, but I'm not like a part of any of the modern day druid official places that you can like get certified for it and stuff. I just do my own thing.
No special handshakes. No special.
My own.
No.
I guess I define myself as a chaos-folk witch. A lot of my practice has to do mostly with learning folk magic. I feel like that's where at least I get my real strengths from.
You definitely have a lot of folk magic. Kitchen witchcraft, you do a lot of?
Yeah.
How we met and got started, the fun part. Okay, where to begin? I guess we'll start chronologically, the abridged version, I guess. Once upon a time, in a land far away called Jimmy John's.
Oh wait, are we going that far back?
I'm doing like the snapshot version.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not doing the whole story, but at Jimmy John's is where fate decided to have soulmates meet during a shift change, and then fast forward real quick, we got married a couple of years later, like 3-ish laters. Yeah, so we got married and lived together, and then I had to get a job, and that sucked. But the one thing that didn't suck is I walked into that place and I was like, let's gauge on the homophobia reader, like how many slurs am I gonna get called? And I look around and I see one person with bright pink hair, and I'm like, okay, cool, they're cool here then. And that was Brittani.
I saw all those evil eyes and I just knew. I knew there was something there. And then that December we all hung out for the first time. But yeah.
And then we hung out a lot more.
And then fate had it. You know, it helps when you cut to the chase. Brittani came up to me and said, I heard you like weed and witchcraft. And I was like, I do. The stars had aligned to that moment during a 15-minute break when you came over and said hi. And now here we are, starting this shop because
we don't want jobs.
We don't want jobs, and
we're the liberals who don't want to work.
Yeah, we're the Republican nightmare. We just want to smoke weed and eat fruit with our shirts off and have the government give us free money, right? Is that it? I don't know.
I mean, dead on.
Basically, every failed Etsy shop and every failed whatever craft thing that we tried, because you cannot run a shop on one ADHD person alone. You have to have others to balance it out. You have to combine the mental illnesses to balance it out, because if you're just like a 15-year-old with ADHD in an Etsy shop.
Yeah, that's the other thing is like, how many people get pushed to open an Etsy shop when they're like 17 and can't handle it?
Any 12-year-olds out there ever have a craft, have their grandma be like, oh my god, you should sell this on Etsy. And then you're like, wow. And then you put together a little Etsy shop or whatever. You're like, look, and they're like, cool. That's a lot of money. And of course, you don't even know what money is at the time. So you're like, okay, cool. Then I guess I'll sell it for dirt cheap. And then they're like,
I was selling hand knit hats for like $20.
I sewed a hat for a doll whose head was the size of my big toe. I used it as a reference, and I hand embroidered the name on it, and I did that for $5 maybe. And now, yeah, here we are where it's now it's how are we trying to gauge prices again? But yeah, that's how we came together, because we were like, damn, capitalism sucks. And here's the nice thing. There's more to life than capitalism. There's a lot more to life than capitalism. And so that is our goal, to try and get rid of that shit. Where we're based, we're in Metro Detroit area, hanging out. Yeah, we're pure Michigan. Potholes you could swim in, Trump signs you can surfboard on the Great Lakes with the ghost ships and all that. It's great. It's great here. We have Fago, I think, is Michigan. That's about it.
It is Michigan. You can't get that in other states.
Isn't Superman ice cream?
Superman ice cream. Yeah, that's colors. That's what colors taste like. Yeah.
How old were you guys when you started doing magic?
I was a whopping 13, and I had a crush on someone, and I used a love spell, and no shit, it didn't work because you're 13 and you have no idea what you're doing. But that was the quickest get into this kind of shit that I possibly could have come up with.
Did you just Google love spell, please help?
Oh, fuck yeah. The website was purple and it had 20 different ones.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I got in young. I don't remember how I got in. I use spellsofmagic.com. I'll name drop. There's a lot of gold on there. There's a lot of not gold on there. I was on there, I remember specifically, isn't this funny, me Googling at 12, how to change into a boy spell. Hope that doesn't affect me later.
I cast testosterone.
There was one that was you'll turn into a cat if you mix cat hair with milk and drink it. No thanks.
Yum.
I read one the other day. I still use it on how to become Aleister Crowley, and you just strip down naked and say come to me, Daddy Crowley, or something. I have it. It's really great. I have it linked. But yeah, I started, I think, because I was I don't have any friends. Time to talk to ghosts. And also, you put a bunch of, girls, quote unquote, together at a sleepover, and someone, somehow, has a Ouija board. So
I never experienced that.
Brittany, did you
that
ever?
That was wild. Yes, that was 80% of my childhood, and I actually hung out with a decent amount of guys growing up. And the Ouija board still came out because there was still at least 3 girls in the vicinity.
You can't leave bitches alone for 5 minutes. And I use the term bitches affectionately because I am formerly a bitch. I'm now a bastard. I'm my bimbofication. I was even my sister, as a young child, making potions, just stirring mud together. I'm outside dancing in the rain, dancing with, quote unquote, dancing with fairies, and now I'm probably haha, I was in Fae danger,
that was my entire life.
Yeah. Avery didn't have the I'm messing with spirits. Avery was just okay, Fae, here's a little house, come on in. Yeah. And they're do, don't mind if I do.
Yeah, so that was also middle school, very, very early middle school, the summer between 5th and 6th grade that I did that.
I also want to confirm, how many of us were and or still are horse girls?
Me.
I was a horse girl.
That's interesting because, when I was a kid, I used to neigh at my aunt's horses to call them to me like a big jackass. So, yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. I'm pretty sure that it's just...
It's a pipeline.
It's a lot of branches off. Horse girl will branch off usually to trans man, and then a lot of times it will go back at some sort of magic. Birds again is the same pipeline. Yeah, that's what I thought. I figured we were all horse girls. I I guess, working with spirits because we would do seances when the boys left. And then, like, I was really good at using the board. My best friend, she was the popular girl, which was always funny because, like, she was on the cheerleading team and, like, you know, went out with a bunch of guys and, like, all that shit. But, like, when we went over to her house, it was like, okay, bust out the board, get the candles, get the salt, let's go. You know, we're summoning demons. And she was really good at channeling, and basically we would come over, and that was when I did all of the, like, dangerous stuff that my guides were like, ooh, when I was, like, letting the planet go loosey-goosey, all whatever, and, like, all that, whatever. Obviously, I'm still here, and, like,
Figured it out.
Don't do Ouija boards, kids.
Don't do Ouija boards, kids, but, like, if you do, don't be dumb. That's, yeah. And so then, like, afterwards, I basically learned from there. Also, I watched a lot of Ghost Adventures, let's be real. Like, my family was into, like, a lot of weird stuff, so I knew about ghosts pretty early on. So that's kind of where I got started, working with
I knew jack
directly.
shit.
Yeah, you believed in science.
Yeah.
Avery was raised very intellectual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why no one ever had a Ouija board around, because we were too busy pretending to be tigers in the backyard.
Yeah.
See, I had a healthy share of that too, though.
Okay, what animal did you carry around in your mouth, and what animal did you pretend to be? Because I had a stuffed raccoon I would carry by the gruff around my house because I was a fox at the time.
I was usually a fox, a wolf, or a tiger.
Yeah.
Those were the top three.
So I could be any animal, that part didn't matter, but my stuffed animal is this gray, super realistic looking stuffed bunny named Daisy. I still have it, yeah, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, all of our stuffed animals are probably all, like, possessed or something now. They're probably all have become one of our own because they're so old. Yeah, I got my like, I mean, I still sleep with the same pillowcase and blanket and stuffed animals that I did my whole life, so they might as well just get up and start walking by now. I was into magic, like, in high school, but, like, I was mainly doing, like, sigils is basically where I started, because I was like, I can do that, and that, like, didn't really have, I identified as agnostic for a really long time, because, like, my life was whack enough that, like, yeah, I believed that there was something else going on the other side, but, like, I definitely did not vibe with God from, like, I read the children's Bible and I was like, this
was it the illustrated one?
Yes. It, like, really skimmed over a lot.
Yeah. Did it have the Joseph story illustrated?
It might have. I don't remember much about it. All I remember was being obsessed about the page where the frogs were coming out of the rivers of Egypt. I was really obsessed with the plague part.
I bet we had.
Of course.
Yeah, gay people be like, ooh, the plagues? Yeah, so then basically, I watched Full Metal Alchemist really young, and I was like, they were like, I'm agnostic, and I was like, shit, that's it. And then I was like, yeah, that's cool. And then basically stuck with that until God happened, I guess. And then I became religious for real. Yeah, I didn't really do much in high school. And then in college, I did real fuck all. And then after that, I got my life together and was like, maybe I should go back and sort some stuff out. And now I have, what did I count? I had 8 deities, 7 guides, and like 10 miscellaneous spirits that I work with. And I'm like, yeah, the grind never stops. Or whatever. Spiritual grind. The grind of, oh no, I have to light a candle.
Mm-hmm. When did you start working with your deities, Brittani? Also, I'm going to try and use worship deities instead of work with deities. Worship. Because
that is true. That is a distinction. We worship.
Yeah, I would say that I started worshiping Persephone probably first, but to like a very lesser degree. It was like a very weird but dull connection to her at first. That was probably when I was like 15. And then probably like a year or two later is when I started working with Freya and Loki. But they were like active gods that I actively worshipped, so they actually showed up. And then like working with Persephone and the whole crew came on later, and as I actually had the space and the time to figure some shit out as far as this kind of stuff goes.
Remind me, were you a Percy Jackson kid growing up? Because I 100% was.
Surprisingly, no. The book that we have in common is Guardians of Ga'Hoole.
Oh, yeah. So long ago, I read I don't even know if I finished that series.
Gotcha.
But yes, that's the Owls one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I do remember that. I 100% was the kid who was a little too into Percy Jackson in like the, haha, it's just a book.
But is it?
Is it? So I've always kind of had a connection to the Greek deities because of that, and also my mom had Storytellers CDs collection. His name was Jim Weiss. I can't find his shit anywhere on like Spotify or online or anything like that. But
It was just for you.
I mean,
one time only.
I think you can buy them on like Amazon and stuff. We had a lot of like mythology storytelling compilation CDs. So a lot of them were Greek. There were a couple Norse ones, I think. There was one specifically like just for trickster gods, and that one was one of my favorites.
Pretty sexy.
Yeah, I remember they told the story about Loki and Baldur in that one, and the only one I remember besides that was Anansi from, I don't remember, South Africa, I think. We can correct ourselves post.
We'll edit that in post haste with whatever the actual right answer is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey y'all, it's your local claircognizant channeling straight from the mythology.net. The deity that my husband was referring to was in fact Anansi of the Ashanti people of Ghana, who is the king of stories, the trickster deity, and the joke maker. And now back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Those are the only two stories I remember off of that track, but that's how I got to like the obsessive level that makes you religious about it.
Yeah. So Brittany, did you pick a god or did a god pick you? Because that's a lot of the hot shit right now is how did you meet? Did you go out and find them or did they come to you?
Both. Or it's happened both ways. Like Persephone, I would say, came to me. I would also say Arachne came to me, and I think that you guys can vouch to that because she was not subtle. It was like banging down my door.
It would be like, oh, let's have Brittany over this weekend. And Brittany would leave. I'd be like, damn, there's a lot of spiders in this house.
Right?
Is this yours? Like, yeah, having spiders come to me at work, and I'm like, I think I know who you're from. They're on the other side of the building, by other section. So, yeah, Arachne definitely was there.
But I think, honestly, I picked Freya and Loki. And the connection's no less real. Like, they're still very much active. So it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's gone both ways.
Yeah, I mean, my people, they came to me and they were like, hey, want to come chill with us? And I was like, yeah, sure. And now they're like, cool. Now here's all the work. Work. And I'm like, okay, yeah. What about you, baby?
Also a mix of both. Carnunos definitely was like, hey, you.
Carnunos probably had been waiting since you were a child, dancing in the woods,
Yeah, I spent all of my time running around in the woods, so, like, that was a given. And then a lot, like, my Greek deities, I honestly can't remember, because I've always had a connection to them. Like, I work with Apollo just because I've always been like, I like Apollo.
Yeah.
Just, like, as long as I can remember. that sort of thing. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know, honestly, with some of them.
I feel like, and this is my mortal opinion, which is what I say so I don't get smited. When people say like they were chosen by a deity at birth, or like everyone is chosen, I just think that's too broad. It's way too different for everybody to be like everyone has a patron deity or whatever. I don't know. That's just my hot take. So yeah, it's interesting to see who are the ones that step up and like go searching through the catalogs of mortals to like go through. I wonder if they have some like Craigslist. They're like sad, depressed, trans man, age like 14, use spellsofmagics.com to communicate with, basically. Looking for a goddamn friend, messes with a bunch of shit that he really shouldn't, so could probably use some big guns if needed. And they're like, oh, look at that sad fucker. I can fix him, you know? Who are the ones prowling out like, ooh, I can fix you, you know? I feel like the Greek pantheon seems to pop up. You know, all those statues that are all like crumbled now. It's like, well, I guess I'll settle for Picroos or Sims, like me. I make Sims of my deities and ancestors and shit. It's really fun, and I highly recommend it for those gamers. What's up, gamers? I started using tarot. That was really my first. I just kind of was like, the universe guides it or whatever.
I did not know this until recently, that most people don't use their tarot decks to specifically talk to a specific spirit.
Yeah, I don't.
That technically counts as spirit work, not divination, as what I was informed.
Yeah, I don't know how other people like.
But that's the only way I've ever done it.
Like, all my decks, like, I don't call it the whatever tarot. I'm like, where's Sai? You know, where the hell did I leave Sai? Or like, damn, I dropped Puka under the bed, or cat knocked over beer guy or whatever. Like, it's never like, oh, the tarot, like, cause it's like, that's their like anchor to me. So I don't know if I see a lot of people like, yes, there are tarot decks that like the deity or spirit uses, but it seems like it's less of an anchor, I guess. I don't know.
So I actually started tarot just doing it, no deities attached, didn't just whatever came up. And honestly, for me, I guess it was just a way more chaotic. The answers were hard to decipher if they meant anything at all. Having someone like behind it, for sure, definitely, you know someone's on the other end then.
Sometimes I draw a reading and I call it an empty reading.
Yeah,
where I pick it up, I lay my cards down and I go, this just does, I don't think this is right. And if I get a reading that feels like no one was on the other end, I will usually pick it back up without even flipping them over and like just shuffle for a while until the phone gets picked up.
Yeah. Something I saw, a phrase I'm going to use a lot, something I saw on TikTok is people knocking on their decks to like not only like cleanse and charge it, but to kind of like alert the spirit that they're gonna like start talking, which I think is kind of cute. Kind of like it'd be like, hello, you got a 5-minute warning before I start pulling cards, so get your whore bath done and come on, we're chatting. So I might try doing that. I don't really get a lot of. There's so many spirits in the house here that like I don't think there's an empty channel of divination left in this house that like some little clown or some little critter isn't gonna come through and say hi or something. So yeah, I use pendulum sometimes. I use pendulum a lot, mainly when I first started out because I got a tarot deck as a gift, like the Wiccans or whatever say that it was like the right way, and I hated it. So I didn't really use it. So I used a pendulum mostly, but then when I actually got a deck for myself, then it was like only tarot, and only now have I started to branch off to oracle, because I didn't know what the hell an oracle or an angel card was. I'd see them in the stores and I'm like, oh, that's too Jesus-y for me, or whatever. Poker cards and stuff now, but mainly I use tarot. I got decks on deck. So I also use the board sometimes, but mostly tarot.
Spirit board.
Spirit board, yeah.
Clarifying.
Yeah. Our Ouija board. So yeah. What about you? You usually do tarot mostly too.
Yeah.
Although you have some oracle decks now.
Yeah, I mostly do tarot. I am trying to get better about like casting and stuff. I just don't have a reliable casting mat yet, so it's kind of hard to do it when you don't have something to cast on.
Yeah. So, free ball and casting.
Yeah.
Just throw it down. Just throw it on the ground and see what happens.
Yeah.
That's some chaos magic. Just throw it on the ground, I guess. Every time I'm like, I don't need a new deck. I feel like I've noticed that if spirits want something, they'll just keep kind of like putting it your way. Like, oh wow, that deck's kind of cute. I see like scrolling through, and then like I know algorithm and shit, but like sometimes it's like, wow, that like really fits the spirit I happen to be working with right now, and then it's like, and then I get it, and then I read through it and I'm like, wow, yeah, I can definitely tell. That was definitely me with the Elements Tarot, my big deck. Like I saw it on hand once or twice, and then like a friend IRL was like, oh my gosh, have you seen this? And I was like, oh yeah, I've seen this. And then like I opened my phone the next time and it was like right there, and I was like, okay, I will buy it. And now it's one of my favorite decks. So yeah, I'm always looking at decks, honestly. I got into crystals really big because like that was a cool shiny thing that a broke college student could afford, especially being in the hippie ass town that I was. Like there was a bunch of crystal shops and shit, so like I got really into crystals and crystal meanings and healings and all that stuff. Now I have an app that I'm like, what's amethyst good for again? Oh yeah, like I every time I use a crystal I have to check it because I'm like, I don't remember. There's so many like new crystals, and like working at a metaphysical store where they're like, oh, this crystal is water bottle light. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Or whatever, I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I'm like, I thought I was pretty, learned on crystals and rocks and stuff.
They're really blowing up.
But like
they're really blowing up outside of the spiritual community.
All those bitches with the yoga mats and from the new age shit just really blasted that crystal stuff out of this world. And that's why there's like so many fakes and stuff now in the market, which is why I haven't really bought a crystal in a while. Like if I go to like a shop and like find one that's like really pretty or like really calls to me, I'll be like, oh yeah, but like now I'm like, it's one of those things where, part of the reason why we made a shop where it's like, well, like, I don't really know where this is, like, sourced. I don't know if this is real. Like, I didn't learn way later in the game that most citrine is amethyst, heat-treated to be yellow. And I was like, oh, like, there's natural citrine. The heat-treated citrine is just amethyst. And that's why I guess amethyst...
Well, citrine is created when it's naturally heated.
Yeah.
So, like, it's the same crystal, just one is heated, one isn't.
But then there's the unheated where it's, like, the naturally made citrine. And I was like, oh, okay. And, like, malachite is becoming more and more faked because a lot of people are just making it out of clay. And also, there's some debate on the authenticity, but they're also mixing resin with like malachite powder and then making it into a stone again. So like kind of a rock, kind of a craft sort of thing. So it's like, is it a real stone? I don't know, man. Yeah, having to explain to father-in-law, yeah, they're putting crystal eggs up people, they're up their like pussies and stuff. Like, thanks Gwyneth Paltrow and all that.
You don't really work with crystals much, do you, Brittany?
I don't. I have quite a few, and my plugs that I wear in my ear are usually some type of crystal, but I just don't really connect with crystals like that. I do have a few, but for the most part, usually if they're safe to keep with my plants, that's what I do with them, but that's the extent of it.
Yeah, I mostly have my crystals for looking.
Yeah.
I just like looking at them.
It's that autistic, I gotta look, I have to take out my things and look at them, and then I have to put them back in the box and put them away, and I looked at them. I put a bunch outside too, so.
Yeah, I have, like, I'm always picking up more moss agate to put with my plants.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about putting some selenite in there because I know selenite can be like a fertilizer or something. But most of mine are just like decor right now. Like if I'm doing a little spell pouch, I'll throw in like a corresponding box. Other than like making spell jars, they're for looking.
Yeah, I have like a couple crystals that I keep around that I do like when I do like trances or like spirit work. But other than that, honestly, like a lot of them just kind of sit in a box. And like I have a lot of them just sit out on altars. Like I'm like, I don't really know where else to put it, so I might as well just put it on an altar.
Yeah.
You call it good?
There's a lot of rose quartz on
Oh my God.
my Aphrodite altar.
We have so much rose quartz. Like I went on a spree, I guess, and just acquired a lot of rose quartz. I bought this necklace at like a Goodwill in Florida that was just like 20,
I would say at least 25 to 30.
just like tumbled stones, wire wrapped around, and I was like,
So now we have like 30
Hell
little
yeah.
rose quartz pieces.
and like my mom also would buy crystals for me every once in a while, and so I got a couple from her, and of course like I was suppressed, so she would get me rose quartz and citrine, so I would be happy and love myself and all that. So I also
You know what else does that?
medication.
Therapy.
Yeah, that was the college years. That was when I was like, therapy doesn't work. I mean, I wasn't even like, these crystals aren't gonna work. I was like, damn, I need some medication. That's what I need. But the medications and the crystals help. The supplement.
Mm-hmm. I mostly meant your family's version of medication.
Oh yeah, that too. They're like, ooh, medication is the devil. You know it changes your brain chemicals. I sure hope. Like, that's the point. Yeah, I have a lot of crystals, and I've tried to do like crystal gritting. It's just mostly, we have cats, and they love to help crystal gritting. Here was one head scratcher time that I had a little fun paranormal experience I had in the house. I have a Metatron's Cube crystal grid, and I got some rocks specifically to like cleanse out the house and the blah blah blah. You know, I had hematite, coral, quartz, all that good shit. And I had it set out downstairs on the bar because like I knew that cats knock over whatever they're gonna knock over, so like
I just drew Persephone.
Wow. So then of course I hear ruckus downstairs, and I go downstairs, and the board is on the floor, and I'm looking on the floor, where are all the crystals? The crystals are sitting where they were on the board. The board was gone, just like moved, but the crystals were as they were, like in their position, and I was like, damn, guess the cat's practicing magic, I guess? Yeah, I mean, this house is like hella haunted. So, have you had a paranormal experience, Brittany, or whatever you want to call it? It can also be like any interaction with your like deity. It doesn't have to be like a scary ghost. It's all the same here. It's all the same.
Growing up, there was this small little wooded area around like the neighborhood houses, and there were shadow people in it.
Yeah. Every house on the block has to have a shadow people house.
Of course, but it was just like the woods surrounding the house. And then, I don't know, there's like the other night, because I hate my house that I live in right now. It's the spookiest fucking house. I'm still scared of it. Been doing this shit for years. Still cannot do my hallway in the dark.
Same at my parents' house in the woods. I was the one where the face stalked me a lot.
Yeah.
But like this was recent, like a month or so ago. We have a hallway, and at each end of the hallway there's a light switch, and when you flick one, it'll turn the light on or off, and then when you flick the other one, they work in tandem.
Yeah.
So one's like right outside my bedroom. So I went from the bathroom into my bedroom, and I shut the light off. And when I shut it off, it turned itself back down, and no one else was there. No one else was awake. My mom works at midnight, so my dad was already in bed. So it was like, oh, okay, bye, going to bed.
Good night. Yeah, it's like, okay, it's so funny because like people are like, oh, what's it like to live in a haunted house? It's like, okay, going to bed. Like, okay, you know. What about you, baby?
Well, I've only seen a spirit once. That was when I saw the giant black dog run across the road in front of my car.
Classic.
It vanished halfway across the road. Classic. Like as I've gotten more awakened or whatever. I do get like the splits out of the corner of my eye and stuff like that. But mostly it's just like we have a music box that plays by itself sometimes.
Yeah, I collect haunted dolls and clowns and stuff, so like it's like, wow, something weird happened in the house. It could be literally like one of like 30 spirits.
And not to mention we have shit wiring. One of the most clear things was when we broke the spell jar, turned around, and there was a stag standing 30 feet away from us, just in the middle of the path staring at me, and then it walked off. We had never seen a deer in those woods before, never saw a deer in there again.
We lived at that place for like 5 years, so like we would have seen it.
Then after we broke the spell jar, because it was the wards, it was the banishment spell, and then we did the, is there anyone here? And then the candle crackled and sparked like very loudly. I don't think I've ever gotten a candle to crack that loudly again.
Candles, I feel like, are kind of underappreciated sometimes. Like, they really are like a good, I rely on them like one of the most to like kind of tell what's going on in a spell. Like, yeah, that's one of my like main, if I want to know how I'm standing with like a spirit or something, I'll light a candle for them and watch and see like, first of all, does it light? I've had it where it's going like, whoop, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do a reading about that. Does it light? Question 1. And if it actually stays lit and doesn't like crackle and stuff, then I'm like, all right, we're good. I like watching TV and stuff with candles on because they will react. Lighting multiple candles too because they talk to each other. I have a video of it somewhere and I wonder if I can dig it up. I had a candle lit for my main guide, Lamia, and then I had 2 others for my other guides, Fury and Elias, and I had their 2 candles kind of closer together, and Lamia's was farther off, and her flame was like way taller than theirs, and theirs would kind of like bop back and forth, like one would get taller, the other would get smaller, and they kind of like bop at the same time. And then, like, I would notice, like, Lamia's candles start to, like, bop at the same time. And then, like, one candle would get tall, and then she would get tall, and then go back down. And it was just kind of fun watching them kind of, like, I don't know. I wonder what they're talking about, like, this bitch really needs to clean their room. Holy shit, Damn, bitch, you live like this? Yes, I do. When I'm like, why is my life falling apart? And then I see the layer of dust on my altars, and I'm like, oh, maybe if I sweeten them up a bit, might help things go smoothly. And like, okay, having an altar in your kitchen is good and fun until literally every time you're making food, you get the eyes of God staring down at you like, hey, I see you're getting a marshmallow. Wouldn't it be nice if I had a marshmallow with a little bit of brown sugar sprinkled on the top? And I'm like, okay. Or like, I use music a lot, so like I'll be sitting there eating my little cake, listening to, shuffled, so it's balls to the wall, who knows what you get. It could be Jason Derulo, it could be in Tibetan throat singing, who knows. And a lot of French music starts coming through, and I'm like, damn, didn't I just give you like a marshmallow with a little bit of brown sugar on top? Do you want some of this cake too? Because it sure fucking feels like you want some of this cake. And then I go and I give a little piece of cake, and then I get like one more French song, and then it's done. And I'm like, okay, you just want a little piece of cake, gotta share what I have, I'm like, huh. So it's good because I'll get like the good intuition, because I don't consider myself a kitchen witch, but like I try and incorporate whatever I can. I mostly cook based on intuition anyway, so it's nice to be like, damn, how the fuck much butter do I use? And I just kind of let my hand hover over, and I'm like, okay, that looks close enough. Or like I'll get like a little like, add a little this in there. I made a really good brown sugar frosting one time because Aurora in the kitchen was like, ooh, what if you did this? And then gave some to me. I like that guides and spirits will do a lot to help you get what they want. Like, if you're like, that's why like, a lot of people are like, I don't know how to start with deities. I don't have a big altar. Get something small, make a little spot, they will make it happen to have a nice big altar piece. They don't want a piddly shit altar. Like, if you show the dedication, like, they'll make shit happen. Like, also, like, I mostly get dead animals as my gifts. So, like, that mostly just turns into bone altar pieces and stuff. They'll find ways. I didn't want to go to CVS the other day, but I had to drag my ass out of bed and go to CVS. And I was like, I wonder if I'll get a gift for doing this. And there's a bird wing just on the sidewalk. And I'm like, ooh, can't wait to show my husband this. And I send me a gift. The cats love it. I've had to banish it to the highest of shelves away from them. It's fun seeing how deities and spirits interact with other people and shit, and especially when it's like, you know, y'all are just as tired and shit as I am, so I'm not out there trying to blast sunshine up anyone's ass, living the best spiritual life. I'm making it fucking through. Like, I feel like a lot of the people getting into magic now are kind of like, oh wow, it's all magical, and we're already like, I'm really depressed. I guess I'll add some of this sun water to my mac and cheese. Maybe it will help, you know, and see if that does anything. And it's not like, I need to have the biggest selenite crystal or the biggest sage stick. Bruh, I just gotta make it through. Like, I'm poor. The resources are what I have in my yard or in my cupboard. So they're gonna get what they're gonna get. And they seem fine with what they get. So I'm like, cool, you know? If you send me dead bugs, I'll put dead bugs on your altar. That's free. That's free for me, you know? Cool. Magic's cheap sometimes. I mean, yeah. Any final closing thoughts, y'all?
I don't know why my immediate thought was have fun, be safe.
Be safe. Follow our Instagram. Follow our TikTok. There's good content on there.
Get tarot readings.
Get tarot readings. There will be definitely a lot more about like our different decks and like obviously more about us. Buy some shit from Brittani because it looks good. Everything will be linked. It will be all nicely written out and beautified later. It was fun.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Oh, I spilled the weed.
The weed got. I don't know. It's okay.